Okay, so I don't even know what I'm going to call the lesson today, and it's a little all over the place, so you'll have to bear with me. But we talk a lot about learning to say no for ourselves, right? We talk a lot about boundaries and just like us respecting our own like right and ability to say no. But I want to talk about the flip side of that. I want to talk about this idea of manipulation and how this might be something that a lot of us might do. And we do it in order to prevent other people from being able to utilize their right to say no. So if we expect from other people to respect our boundaries and give us that right to say no to things and to set boundaries, then we also, right, as in that high vibe queen energy, should also give that in return, right? Because we love to have this like reciprocal energy going on, right? What we put out, we get back. So let's talk about, and that word is icky, right? The word manipulation, because you hear it associated a lot with like the idea of like a narcissist or something like that. But we can often develop manipulation type behaviors for really good reasons. Okay, so we come from some colorful backgrounds. We all have some deep and painful stories. We all come from different backgrounds. Some of you guys have struggled with trauma. Some of you guys have dealt with addiction. Some of you guys have dealt, it's just with a lot of abuse. So in these shaky, uncertain, unstable environments where as children, our needs are not getting met, we can learn manipulation tactics as a means to survive. Okay, we can learn how to finagle, right, a situation to ensure that we get what we need or get what we want when simply requesting it and asking it like a normal human being wasn't honored or respected. Does that make sense so far? Give me the hearts. With me, see thumbs. Okay, see thumbs. Okay, cool. So this isn't a attack on anybody's personality, right? This isn't an attack on your person or your character if you have some of these things going on. I have been the person who had to take a look at this stuff in my recovery and along my journey and say, oh, fuck, like I do those things and I've acted that way and I've put people in those positions and I have to learn a different way to be. So it's okay. I would say that everybody in this room would probably have at least one of the things that I'm about to talk about that they can identify with. And if you don't, then it would be mind-blowing to me, considering that I know where all of you guys came from and what you've been through. Those are the backgrounds and the circumstances that shape people into acquiring some of these kind of tactics to live. So that's what these are. These are ways that we got what we want. These are ways for us to get what we want. And here's the deal. I want you guys to get what you want. I talk a lot about wanting you guys to get what you want. We talk about our desires, we talk about having the life of our dreams, and you guys finding the jobs and the people, your partners, and all the things that are the best case scenario for your life and going after them passionately. But if we have these kind of low vibing tactics inside of us as a way of obtaining our wants and desires and our needs, then staying in that low vibration around acquiring the things that we need is going to keep us stuck and halt us from being able to get the high vibrational desires, because you can't really mix the two. We can't go after a high vibe lifestyle through a low vibe means of getting it, if that makes sense. Okay, so we want to learn really high vibrational ways to acquire and manifest the things that we want. But in order to ever do that, we have to figure out what are these manipulation tactics, what are these low vibe ways of getting what we want, and put an end to them, right? We have to make this part of our past, part of that shit that we're going to let go of, and then we'll pick up a new way, right? That's kind of how we always do things around here. We let go of the old way, we get a new way. So let's talk about 11 manipulation tactics that we could have used. These are common manipulation tactics. It's not limited to these, but these are some of the things that we could use. And we talk about one of these in the book, which is going to be a really important one I want to point out because it will apply. This one will apply to probably everybody. So here's 11 manipulation tactics. Okay. Number 1 is called charm. Charm. So that means, right, I'm going to be really charming. I'm going to be really like desirable. I'm going to be, you know, you're going to put on the smile. You're going to bust out the best jokes. You're going to be really witty, really funny, right? Sorry. The dog went me. Okay. So y'all know that person that's just, you know, on the movies, maybe like the brown noser kind of person, you know, that kind of persona or whatever you want to call it, right? We're just going to put on the show, make the person love you. Because if you're likable, right? Likable people tend to get more yeses. Likeable people tend to get more yeses. This is kind of like that salesman-y vibe too, right? Just that super, super charming kind of person it's hard to say no to. Number 2 is coercion. So often coercion is like accompanied with threats of some sort, right? Fear or a threat, like if you don't do this, then I will A, B, and C, bad things that you don't want to happen, right? So it's kind of like creating a scenario where you have to say yes, even though that wouldn't really be what you wanted to say yes to. But if you don't say yes, then these bad things will happen. So, you know, saying yes to the thing that you don't want to say yes to feels better than this bad consequence, right? But you're creating the consequence. The manipulator's creating this consequence that wouldn't have existed otherwise, right? So that's how they manipulate the situation, by creating the negative consequence that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Okay, number 3, silent treatment. Silence is a really uncomfortable thing for a lot of people, and it actually creates really negative chemical releases in our brain when we're like ignored by people. Being ignored by people is an emotionally painful thing. And so when people ignore you on purpose and give you that silent treatment on purpose, okay, and it has to be on purpose and it has to be intentional, with the intent to manipulate the situation. Okay, if somebody's busy or doing something for a long time like that, that's a different thing, right? It has to be with that intention of getting you to do something that you didn't want to do, right? So let's see, a scenario might be, okay, so the silent treatment, it must be accompanied with the intention to create the change in behavior, create the desired behavior from the other person. Like that maybe you know that if you don't speak, that person will get uncomfortable and eventually apologize, even though they really didn't feel like they were wrong, right? Like, so that would be like the manipulation, not because the person is going for a walk to cool down after an argument. Like that's a different intention than them purposefully staying silent. Number 4 is reason and logic. So using reason and logic. So the person doesn't want to do the thing, but then you find like really, really intelligent ways to back up. This is like a lawyer, okay? This is like the lawyer scenario. So they're super smart, so you're finding like all of these ways to back up why you think this person should do this thing and however, like it was with the intent to like force them into doing the thing they didn't want to do. So it makes it really hard to like go against all of the reason and the logic, even though that was not what the person wanted to do. Okay. Number 5 is regression. So regression is when a person would begin to act childlike, regress to a childlike state. So maybe just like crying a lot, throwing the tantrum, name calling, like anything that you could associate with like childlike behavior for them to regress to that point. And the other person, and with the intent that that behavior would make the other person cave and give in to what the manipulator wants, right? Like maybe it would be so uncomfortable for them to be dealing with this childlike behavior that they would be like, fine, okay, yes, like you can have the thing. Number 6 is self-abasement. Self-abasement. Now, this one is the one that I said at the beginning. There's going to be a special one that relates to our book and our program. And self-abasement is that one, because this one is humiliating the self on purpose, right? And we talk about this idea in the book that we could use like the idea of having low self-worth or attacking the self-hate. We could use that as a tool to get what we want from people. And I point that out in the book because it's really important to see how that could, as a self-worth attachment, right, could keep you stuck in the vibration of low self-worth because it's been a way to get your needs met. Me beating up on me has been a way for me to get what I want. If I beat me up in front of people, then they might feel sorry for me. And if they feel sorry for me, then they feel more obligated to give me what I wanted. So, but it's a means of manipulation when we're doing it to get what we want. And we don't want to manipulate like this, especially not. This number 6 is when I want you to pay super, super close attention to. We're not going to beat up on self to get attention. We're not going to beat up on self because we want somebody to be in connection with us that day that really doesn't want to, like that sort of thing, right? Okay, number 7, responsibility invocation. Okay, responsibility invocation. So that basically means, but you promised, right? If somebody changed their mind, somebody made a commitment to something, but then later like can't do it for whatever reason, like guilting them into following through with something that they committed to, maybe when they weren't focused enough or didn't play that tape through well enough, like for whatever reason they made a bad decision, they made a bad commitment or something, and then we want to guilt them into doing it anyway. Number 8 is hardball. So this is harm. It's called hardball, and this is when things actually get to like a state of physical harm. And so this is a big one. If you don't, I'm going to hurt you. If you don't say yes, then it's going to be bad, right? So that threat of like actual physical harm. Number 9 is pleasure induction. So this one means that you're trying to convince the person of how much pleasure, how much fun they're going to get out of something. So it's going to be so enjoyable, right? You invite up your friend to go, hey, do you want to go out drinking tonight? And she's like, no, thanks. I'm really actually just tired. Oh, come on. It's going to be so fun. And she's like, no, I'm so tired. I can't. Come on, it's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be a blast. Blah, blah, blah. And you just keep on like about how much fun. It's kind of like peer pressure-y vibes. Number 10, social comparison. So that is like that other like peer pressure-y manipulation. Like, well, the cool kids are doing it, so you should do it too, right? Everybody else said yes, you should say yes, right? Comparing them to the other people to make them feel like there's something wrong with their choice and decision. And then number 11 is monetary rewards. So using money, I'll pay you. If you do it, I'll pay you. Pretty self-explanatory there. We can coerce people into doing things that they don't want to do sometimes for money. So that is 11 different ways that we can use manipulation. And then I also want to touch on this idea that, you know, it's even though there's those set like different things that you could do, it's not limited to that. And it's basically this energy of being a magician and being a hypnotist, and that I can, you know, that I can sway you. I can use these different things that I have in me to twist and turn the way that you think, right? And get you to bend to my way of thinking instead of respecting and accepting that somebody else is going to have is their own sovereign being and is going to have their own ideas and opinions and decisions. So manipulation is a strategy where we're working to get a yes, right? It's a strategy that we're using where we're trying to get a yes out of somebody. And why is because we've used that as a tactic to get our needs met. We don't know any other way. We've had to learn some really sketchy sort of ways to get our needs met in the past. And now that's just kind of how we do it. And the thing about using manipulation, the manipulator has a problem with no. We work when you find yourself being a manipulator, you're working really, really, really hard, like way harder than anybody else on the planet would work to get somebody to say yes, because you cannot tolerate the no. The rejection that you feel when you hear a no is like unbearable. The manipulator cannot trust the self to make it through the feelings, right? That would take place if they had to hear no. If I heard no, oh my God, it would be so unbearable. What would I do? What would I do if they said no? What would I do if they rejected me? You know, gasp. I just wouldn't even be able to bear it, right? So it's an uncomfortable thing. And then a third thing is that the manipulator hasn't figured out any other ways to get to a yes. They haven't found any healthy ways to get their needs met. So I want to talk about how do we deal with this now that we've learned what are the manipulation tactics. I'm going to stop doing that. What am I going to do instead? So I have one answer. I have a couple things I'm going to talk about, but I basically have one answer. So even though I went over like 11 different manipulation tactics, we're going to use the same one answer. It gets to be really super simple. It's going to be really easy to remember, okay? One answer of what to do instead of all those things. We are going to be clear, honest, authentic, blunt, and true, asking and requesting for what you need. We're going to replace all of those things with that. Clear, honest, authentic, blunt, true, asking or requesting for what you need. And then on the other side of that, we're going to include all of the details, right? That's another form of manipulation. When we ask for what we need, but then we don't include like all of the important details that that person might need to know to make a rational and, logical decision for themselves. If you leave out part of it so that it'll sound better, like a better picture for that person, something that they would say yes to. But then once they find out all the details, they're like, oh, wait a second, this isn't what I signed up for. Like that was a manipulating into that situation. So we want to be clear. We want to be honest. We want to be authentic. We want to be blunt. We want to be truthful. And we want to include all of the details. We have to allow other people to say no because we want that ability, right? And what we put out into the world through law of attraction is what we will get back. I want my boundaries respected. So I'm going to respect the boundaries of other people. I'm going to accept, right? It is what it is. They are who they are. This is how we start dealing with that no. That's another important part of this, right? If manipulators can't stand no, and we're doing manipulator tactics, then we need to figure out how to be okay with a no. We have to be able to hear that and it be something that doesn't kill me, right? That doesn't affect my worth. So it could be, I want you guys to all remember that no, the rejection from that, right, doesn't have anything to do with your worth. We're going to separate the no from our worth. Hearing no, being rejected, does not mean I'm not enough, does not mean I didn't do good enough, that I wasn't pretty enough, that I wasn't this, that, and the other enough because somebody said no to me. It just means it was a no, right? We're going to make it a neutral thing that doesn't have so much emotional weight tied to it. It is what it is. They said no. We have to accept it. They are who they are. They're allowed to have their boundary. My job when I hear no is not to convince the other person that that's not really what they wanted to do, or that wasn't really the answer they wanted to give. Have to learn to be okay with the no. And we have to remember that you are worthy, even when you hear no. And so the answer is super simple. Stop with the magicianing, stop trying to change and control and, move things around. Like our job is just to accept what people say and let it be. So that is how we move out of using manipulation tactics so we can get into a super high vibe, queen energy around boundaries, giving that respect and getting it in return. And so I do just want to kind of reiterate, like if you identify with any of the things that we talked about today, it does not mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your character. It just means that you've learned some really bad habits around how to get your needs met. And something kind of cool. And it worked itself in. Like this was something that popped up in my head this morning that I was like, I think that I'm going to say that for group. I think I'm going to use that for group, but I couldn't get like my thoughts clear around how it was going to be used, but it seems like it's going to be now. So I had a new faucet installed in my kitchen, and I got a new computer, and all the outlets are on the other side, all the ports are on the other side, and the faucet that I got.
Century21core.com. The side dash is rich there.
Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with that thing. The faucet has one handle instead of two handles. And so I keep just like reaching for like these imaginary things that aren't there anymore. Like reaching for this faucet handle that doesn't exist and being like, ugh, that's not where it's at. And then I keep like reaching to plug in things on the side of my computer and being like, ugh, no, it's on the other side. And it just really made me realize like how habitual we are as human beings, how stuff just gets ingrained in our subconscious. And even though I can see clearly in front of me that that is not where the handle is, or that's not the same computer anymore, I still reach for it because for all of this time, I've been doing this motion over and over and over again, the exact same way. And so we just create habits. If you can look at it as just like, this is just this neutral thing. It's just this habit, this bad habit, just like Rachel trying to grab the faucet handle. It's just this bad habit, this thing that I've done so many times that it's ingrained in me, right? Just like you were, one of you guys were saying, like, that's just who I am. Like, it wasn't an ill intent. It's just who I am. It can get like that, right? It can get so deeply ingrained that it just feels like that's the normal. That's the normal. But we have to be conscious and actively work to change it, but not beat ourselves up or judge ourselves or, shame ourselves by feeling like we're a bad person about it, because that doesn't do any good. So I just want you guys to remember to create your changes in the energy of love and compassion for yourself. Honor yourself for being a creative being as a child that found ways to get their needs met, even though they weren't like the healthiest ways. You found ways, right? So you're this amazing being and you were like doing what you had to do. But now things are different. Now you're in this program. Now you're an adult. Like, now you get that power of choice to choose a new way and to direct your life in a way that doesn't need these things anymore, right? We can drop that old tool. We just don't need it anymore. So I just want you all to be empowered today to have clear, honest, authentic, blunt, true requests and asks for your needs. Practice doing that. And if you hear no's, let it be okay. And that's all I got for you guys. You're worthy no matter what. I love you.